Welcome to the Chris Spangle Show. Thanks for joining me. Hey, this one is a little bit different. I had the pleasure of doing several interviews of IndyCar drivers for the Bob and Tom Show, where I work on a daily basis. That's my day job. And joining me was actor Drew Powell from Gotham, soon to be Curb Your Enthusiasm. He's a great guy, lots of fun. And we talked to the first position, the last position, and everybody in between here. So I hope you enjoy it, and thanks for listening. And if you're not an IndyCar fan, sorry about this podcast, but you should be, because it's incredibly exciting and a ton of fun to watch. And if you want to get into it, check out CW's Road, I think it's called 100 Days to Indy. It's a really good documentary style. It's produced by Vice. So those of you who listen to me probably love the Vice embedded journalism as I do, and they did it for IndyCar, and it's tons of fun. All right, so I hope you enjoy the interviews. Hope you enjoy the Indy 500. Make sure you check out the Boss Hog of Liberty here on the network. They're big race fans too. If you enjoy this sort of thing, then you'll enjoy their show. So thanks so much, and we'll see you again soon here on the Chris Spangle Show. Chris Spangle here with Drew Powell for the Bob and Tom Show, and we are talking to the pole sitter, Alex Palou. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You've had a monster month. You won the Grand Prix. You won the pole. You have to feel confident about your chances on race day.
Yeah, sure. It's been a great start of the month of May, obviously. It's been a great warm-up with the win at the GMR. And obviously the pole that obviously didn't really expect. We knew that we had a really fast car, but we felt like we were not the fastest cars until the Fast Six. So super happy to be here.
Yeah.
Was this year different than years past for you? Did it feel different?
Yeah, I mean, last year I finished second on the qualifying.
Yeah.
But I didn't really feel that I left everything on track. I thought after qualifying that I had more, and I was like, man, why? Like, you didn't go. Because you never know if maybe next year our car is not fast enough and then we are not fighting for pole anymore. So this year I was like, man, this is not happening again. I'm going to go for it if I can, and we'll go aggressive, and glad everything worked out.
Heck yeah.
Now, Scott Dixon is a veteran. He's won the race. He's won a record number of races almost. When you came to the series, you were fairly new to it. How helpful has Scott Dixon been to you in your development as an IndyCar driver?
Oh, huge. I mean, it's an honor to be able to share notes and comments about the race car with him. I used to look up to him when I was looking at the IndyCar races. He was already leading.
He must have been like, what, 40 when you were born? I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking.
No, but he was already winning when I started watching IndyCar. So for me, it's just a privilege to be able to share everything with him. And obviously, I learned a ton with him, with Taku, with Marcus, and last year with Jimmy Johnson. So
Go ahead.
No, I just wondered if you could understand him with that Kiwi accent.
It's tough. It's tough.
That's an interesting, you're all talking English, but in different accents.
That's right.
Everybody's with different accents, and TK last year as well. If you put that on top of us, it gets worse. So, yeah.
Did you grow up speaking English? Did you know that as a secondary language?
Well, I used to. They used to teach us in school, but honestly, it was.
Well,
it's like when we learned Spanish.
Probably very similar to my Spanish. Aló, Mariana, ¿qué planes tienes en este fin de semana?
Oh, that's pretty good.
Thank you. Mis zapatos son muy queso.
Me llamo Cristobal. That's all I got. Alex Palou is from Spain. You have or had a coffee shop? I was listening to a podcast called Dinner with Racers.
Oh. I used to own a coffee shop together with my wife. Yeah.
You started it as a backup plan, but you sold it now. You're here full time. Do you live here in Austin or Indy?
In Indy. Yeah, I used to live in Austin, but only for the first year, and then I moved here.
Oh, that's great.
So you sold the coffee shop.
Yeah.
Is it just simply because the logistics didn't work out well?
Yeah, I mean...
He's too busy winning.
Yeah.
You ain't got no time to sling coffee.
Yeah, I mean, it was really busy, man. It was... You had to put so much effort, and we really loved having everything perfect. Like, as we have the mindset, as I have the mindset for the motorsport, we wanted to have the same for the coffee. It's like, we need to put the coffee like that, the toast like that, not too much avocado, but not too little,
I'm sorry I missed this. Where was it?
and near Barcelona, like 30 minutes from Barcelona.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
So it was an amazing thing that we started together from scratch. And we had it for 3 years, but we had to solve it because otherwise my wife had to fly in and out too much, and it was a lot of work, but it was fun.
Well, let me ask you this. As an actor, I'm amazed at how often acting and sports, my friends that are in professional sports, there's so many similarities. And one of them is you're doing a job that everybody wants to do, but not many people get to do it. And also you're doing a job that is like, it sounds like if it was a backup plan, like we're always thinking like having a backup plan, like how long is this racing thing going to work? How long is this acting thing going to work? You never know. Did you have it's also a roller coaster, right?
Yeah.
Certainly for me, you're working all the time, then you're not working for a while.
Yeah.
How did you cope with all that? And now on top of the mountain.
I would say when I started racing, I don't come from a really wealthy family or a family that was in motorsport before. So I always knew that race could be my last race.
Right.
Not even that year. It could be
Literally that race.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
So it's always been like that. It was tough as a kid to know that, hey, Alex, you only have this race, and if we don't get a sponsor for next race, we're not going to be able. So it was tough as a kid, but then nowadays it's easy for me to think that I have a full year to go for it. And now obviously I don't have to worry about it. So it's tough, but I mean, you get used to. I think it makes you work harder each day to try and secure the job and do the best you can.
And does it make it feel sweeter now that you're like it? Do you appreciate it? Do you think more?
Yeah, but I don't really think about it too often. I still have the same mentality of like, man, it might be my last Indy 500 with a winning car, whatever. Like I need to get the most of it each day and try and win.
That's smart.
Yeah, especially at Ganassi where everything is in its place, perfect. Does that mentality of this could be my last race? Is that why you're one of the reasons you're so successful at Ganassi is that you're always prepared, you're always appreciative of where you're at, and you're just in equipment that has kind of the same mentality. The team has that same mentality.
Yeah, I mean, the team is outstanding. Like we've been on pole here for the last 3 years.
Yeah. Amazing.
That shows.
And Marcus Ericsson won last year.
Marcus won last year, so that shows the effort that this group puts in this place and the series in general. So that helps me look better. But honestly, I try and take that mentality. I think that helps. I try and work every day as much as I can on myself, physically, mentally, and especially preparing myself. But
shows.
So this is the Bob and Tom show, so we can't ask you all serious race questions. We've got to ask you some silly, stupid questions.
Let's go. I'm ready.
What is the last thing you Googled?
It was actually we're launching my shop now, so it was my shop that I was Googling to see if everything
race gear. What kind of shop?
Yeah, some race gear and coffee. We're actually launching.
You got coffee?
Yeah.
All right, now we're talking.
So
it's bringing the coffee and greens idea to Indianapolis, or where?
No, it's just coffee beans. So we did a special edition for the Indy 500. So
do you have some in your bus right now? Like,
I do. Yeah.
Okay,
I do.
I'm coming over later. I'm coming over after the race. Absolutely. Are you kidding? I got one. Being the actor. Okay, if you could choose an actor, I'll take myself out of the running. Although we do look a lot alike. An actor to play you in the movie about your life and when you won the Indy 500 in 2023, who would you choose?
Dwayne Johnson. I think that would be really accurate on terms of physically and all that
Good
stuff.
Choice.
So
Good choice. I think he's up for that.
Yeah. I think that would
Talk
look
about
good.
Fast and Furious. Let's go.
Is there a little quirk that you have that drives your team crazy?
A little quirk? What does it mean?
Like a funny thing or a thing that you do that they're always like on you. Stop doing this.
I don't think I do. No, I don't think I do.
He's perfect.
Yeah, he's very easygoing.
I don't think I do.
Yeah,
that's great.
Alex Palou, number 10, American Legion car. We'll see you tomorrow for Carb Day. Thanks so much for talking to us.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys.
Good luck. Go get him.
Jackie listed off every fast food restaurant.
Is he into
How much you enjoy
what? Are you into it?
Which is your favorite fast food restaurant?
Oh man, we just did a whole segment about it. Chick-fil-A probably.
Whoa,
that's a good
Chick-fil-A
choice.
for dinner, I think, 2 nights ago.
Yeah, good choice.
Chick-fil-A's,
See you around.
it's solid.
You too.
But he never had Wendy's.
Yeah, he'd
I'm
never
from
been
Columbus,
to Wild.
Ohio, so I've definitely had Wendy's.
Yeah.
Wendy's great, this guy.
Yeah,
You're in the wrong chair, though.
I'll take you to Wendy's. You want
Yeah.
a Frosty?
This is Drew Powell.
Actor.
I'll make-
Good to see you.
How you doing?
That's how I make it
Yeah.
up to you. I'll buy you a Frosty.
Huh?
That's how I make it up to you. I'll buy you a Frosty.
For kicking me out of the field? That's not a very good trade.
I went as fast as I could.
Oh, I love it.
Just needed you to sneeze or something.
I farted.
I
You
love
must
it.
have had McDonald's the night before.
That was it. It was White Castle. He got the Crave case from White Castle. That stuff will make you go. America runs on White Castle. It's not Dunkin'. Man, oh man, that's right, Ohio boy though.
See, and White
That's-
Castle's Ohio too.
Yeah, we had I'm from Lebanon originally, from Lebanon, Indiana. We had a meat processing plant for White Castle, which always made me very curious what actually was in that.
I was gonna say, yeah,
It was definitely a question.
yeah, for sure.
All right.
We got our first full race suit here.
I know it's.
He's
Yeah,
been working
sorry.
today.
I was working.
I love
I
it.
got 15 minutes of work in
Let's
today.
go. Let's go.
This is Chris Spangle here for the Bob and Tom Show, here with actor Drew Powell, and
Howdy.
we are joined by Graham Ray Hall. Graham, first race suit today. You're
Yeah.
fresh out of the car. You had a golf tournament, and then you had 15 minutes in the car to loosen up.
I did, yeah. Yeah, it was quick. Didn't get through the golf tournament either. Ran out of time.
Oh, really?
The play was too slow.
Christian Lundgaard was here, and he
and
had a
it's-
good time.
And it's my golf tournament, so it's my fault, I guess, that we weren't quick enough. But yeah, it was. It's been a little bit of a whirlwind
Yeah.
few days for me. But we're here, and it was good to get out there. You know, even for 15 minutes, just to see how different things are, because clearly, car to car, it's different.
How big
period.
how big is the jump from your Ray Hall car to the Cusick car?
Well, it's more just like the steering wheel's clearly a lot different. To get used to it, where the buttons are, the way the buttons feel. You know, in gloves, it's even just the feel of things is so critical.
Yeah.
The RLL car, the buttons are they protrude out a long way. The Dry Reinbold Cusick Motorsports car, they're kind of flat with the wheel, so you've got to actually like push in. So it feels quite different. But look, those are all things we'll adjust to. We got a couple hours tomorrow to figure it out and go from there. It definitely is a blur to
yeah, I'm
jump
not-
in and just go.
We're not going to rehash what every single other person in the media day has asked you, but I do want to ask about the difference maybe between 20 years ago versus now. You're a Honda driver driving for a Chevy car. They allowed you to do that. The teams work together. Has the
Yeah.
sport become a lot more collegial and a lot?
Well-
Maybe it's competitive, but not as intense.
No, I think it still is. I think I was very surprised to be here. In many ways, particularly, I think that people have seen this. I feel that, the Chevy motor has been very, very strong, right? And if you look at the cars that are up front, aside from the Ganassi team, that most have been the Chevy. And so for them to allow me to drive that, I think is a little surprising. I think for Honda, there was a big surprise that they allowed me just simply because I've spent my whole career there. But for the Chevy side, I mean, certainly they've got information that they probably don't want me to know anything about. So that's been a surprise.
Did you have to sign an NDA? Or?
Somebody said that to me.
Yeah.
Somebody's like, you must have signed an NDA. I said,
I gotta sign an NDA to audition for a Marvel movie. I mean, you would have thought.
I haven't signed anything. Nothing at all.
Here we go.
So,
They trust you. You're a trustworthy guy.
But they also don't tell me anything.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you don't
that's
need to
right.
sign an NDA if you don't get told a
That's
single
right,
thing.
yeah.
So, but it's been a whirlwind, man. The last few days, holy smokes, it's hard to process
Yeah.
what all has actually taken shape.
Did you go home?
No.
No.
We've just been living in the motorhome, man.
Yeah.
Living in a
See
motorhome.
what happens.
Got two little girls in there, two dogs, and my wife Courtney is somehow keeping it all together.
That's
I'm not
awesome,
really
dude.
sure how.
That's awesome. I loved it.
But yeah.
I've got a 4.5-year-old. I've got a baby due next month. Things for me have changed radically since having kids. How has having children, young kids, watching your daughter walk up and hug you on the race car, I might tear up
Yeah,
thinking about
I
it
know.
now. I mean, how has that changed
That was
things for you?
That's when it got hard for me. I was kind of feeling okay, not okay, but I mean,
Keeping it
I was
together.
keeping it together.
Yeah.
And then I looked over and I saw my wife with the 2 girls, and I was like,
uh-oh.
that's one,
Yeah.
you feel so
Kryptonite.
much.
Kryptonite.
Yeah, it's just so hard.
Yeah.
But here we are. We're back in it.
Yes, sir.
We just needed a chance. We got a chance now, so let's see what happens.
How did the car feel today?
Hard to tell.
Yeah.
But and it's windy. I mean, super windy today. I hope
really
it's not
is.
like this on race day, just more out of principle. This is
Yeah.
a tough, no fun being out there like this. But it's different. I mean, it's going to be different. It's going to handle different. It's going to feel different tomorrow. But I'm excited to get out there and get a sense of it. We'll see.
Yeah. So we've been asking everybody all day long. I live from the Hollywood world, so they make a movie, and this sounds like they might be making a movie about this. There's been a lot of great drama. Who plays you in the movie?
Oh, man. You tell me.
Well, I'm available, and I think we're the same height. So I'm going to hit the gym for like the next 3 years,
Yeah.
and then we'll be fine. No, okay. Let's think about this.
Because I don't know.
What do people say you look like an actor?
No, only person I'm ever told I look like is Luke Bryan.
I
I
see
see
that.
that.
You know who just hit me from last year, actually, and we met last year for the first time here, is Miles Teller. I could see some Miles
You
Teller
think so?
action. Yeah. I'm not saying you guys look exactly alike, but I think he could do
Man,
a good job
that
with you.
movie was sweet.
Oh, man.
Top Gun.
Wasn't it?
It was awesome.
It brought people back to the theater. Like, I was so thankful for that movie. But yeah, I could see that. And, man, what a story. This is what number for you? 500?
16.
16.
16. Oh, yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah, a lot.
The person that was
This has
born
been the
the year
toughest,
of your first is 16 years old right now,
Yeah.
learning to drive.
I know. And I feel like most of the drivers I compete against weren't born when my first one, my first first race.
Especially
But
these days.
it's kind of strange. There's a lot of youth in the sport right now. A lot. And
RC Emerson was like, "Yeah, my first, I came to my first one when Tony Kanaan started." It's like, I was a senior in high school. We're about the same age. Like,
Exactly.
are you getting to a point in your career where you talk to some of these younger guys and you're like,
Oh,
You
dude,
little-
they're so out of touch. A lot of these young kids, I'm like, I was laughing today. I'm not going to name names, but like one of the drivers in his contract got something for free in exchange for money. And I was like, he had to be like 20 years old because money is gold, right?
Yeah,
You need to make a living.
Yes.
But as a kid, who cared,
Right.
Hey, I got a new toy. It's
Yeah.
like, no, not anymore. Not anymore.
Exchange for money.
But
you've I would listen to a podcast today called Dinner with the Racers with your dad.
Yeah.
Bob or Bobby. He said you call him Bob.
I call him Bob.
Why do you call your dad Bob and not?
Don't know.
You call him Dad in
I
some of
think
the
Bobby
interviews. but-
sounds weird.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like.
But what about
maybe
Dad?
it was cool 40 years ago, but I think Bob is better suited nowadays.
Yeah, I get that.
I call him Dad all the time, but I think like if we're around. Well, I guess sometimes when he calls me, I say Bob. I guess now that I think about it.
Yeah.
We've always called him that. My little sister calls him Bob, and everybody calls him Bob.
He
so.
said he thought it was a little bit to tweak him. Is there a little bit of that?
Probably a little. Sometimes. But at least we don't call him Robert or something. We're really upset if that's what we call
Robert.
him. But
Well, the one thing I got to say is I've always admired your first of all, your ability to, I mean, you got definitely a future in the booth after. You can really explain this very well
Thank
to
you.
lay folk like myself. But also, just like the class act, like, you've had it's hard in this business, I think, when they stick a microphone in your face after you've been doing what you've been doing. To not just go crazy.
dude, that was the hardest part of Sunday. You're down, you're out. You've just been kicked in every area you can imagine, and you just don't have time. And I knew it. It hadn't even ended, and I could see the crowd swarming my car. I hadn't even gotten out yet.
Jeez.
And to to get out and try to keep yourself composed for like 10 minutes is not easy. But I do think that that's something that's super unique about our sport.
Yes.
Even in football, right? Like if a player, if Tom Brady goes out and throws 5 interceptions and wants to walk off the field and not do an interview, he can do that. But in our world, you can't. They are on you. The mic is in your face. You're not going to get out of there. And so that access is a great thing, but
Yep.
it's also tough
It
at
is.
times.
Yeah,
It makes
I
for
got
great TV too, man. That 100 Days to Indy is freaking fascinating to watch.
the story that they're going to get now is
Oh man, you turned
Probably
into
more.
the A storyline. I'll tell
probably,
you that.
probably more of a story than they
You hear that, boys?
Yeah, they're listening.
There's always been a little bit, I don't know if polarizing is the right word, but I just feel like the shift in IndyCar fans in your favor. Have you noticed anything like cruising social media?
Not really. You know, I don't really look at it very much because here's the reality for me. Like, people just love to hate me, and I'm okay with that. You know, being my last name, I know that. You know, I've lived that for 20 years. You know, people, you know, yes, you have those that are genuine fans and care, but people say the dumbest stuff, and they don't have
gosh.
a clue who I am as a
my
person. They've
gosh.
never met me, and they would never say it to my face.
Never.
I can guarantee you that.
Never.
But they just love to hate. You know, that's the world, unfortunately, I feel like that we live in today.
You're right.
It's just, you know, you just everything needs to be controversial. I just don't get why.
Yep.
But
Preach,
that's the
brother.
reality. And so for me, you know, I don't really look at it, you know, that much. It's tough because unfortunately there are a lot of people who get affected by that stuff. Look, I tried to handle it as best I could. I tried to handle it like a pro, a guy who's been in the sport for a hell of a long time.
Yep.
And that's all I can do. I try to make my family proud, make our sponsors proud. And that's the extent of what I can control. If a fan wants to like it or love it, then great. If they want to hate me, then, you know, then they say, I would just say, if they want to, then they actually don't know me as
Yeah,
a
it's
person.
true.
But that's
Absolutely.
Yeah.
their choice.
Well, I will say I was standing kind of next to the gaggle as you got out of the car right there at the
Yeah.
end of Gasoline Alley. You go through, you do all the interviews, you don't refuse any interviews, you get in your golf cart with your wife to head back to the garage after one of the worst moments in your career. You see a dad holding a little boy, and they're both wearing
He
your
had a
jersey.
15 shirt on,
and
yeah.
you stop and sign autographs for him. I thought that was amazing.
act.
Because
Baby.
you know the thing is, like, I was there once, and I know that people think, oh yeah, you're Bobby's son, so you were there in a different group. No, I literally all the time I would stand by the you know, by the fence and you know, I remember being here as a little kid, and I was so excited to get Stefan Johansson's autograph. Like, I remember it like it was yesterday. And
That's great.
that affects you, you know. I don't care who you are, but it also affects you if you don't do it. You know, if you don't sign that autograph, you know. The great Robin Yount, who happens to be a very close family friend of ours. But if you're a baseball fan, like, you know, he did this thing, and it's gone viral a couple of times. But where he talked about the reason in his era that you played baseball and you played every single night and you gave it everything that you had was because there are how many people in the stands every night that's their one game a year they've saved up to go and watch you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've seen it, not to talk bad about something, but I've seen it here. I came here once when LeBron was with the Miami Heat and they were playing, and he had a rest night.
Yeah.
And you know how many
Load management.
You know how many LeBron jerseys were in the stands?
Yeah.
And you know, there he is in a sport coat sipping a Pepsi on the sideline.
Yeah.
That's hard for people to accept.
Yeah.
And you certainly, you know, for me, I want to be the guy that when you get out of the car, whether it's good or bad, you got to carry yourself with class. You've got to be good to these kids because they will remember.
One of my most
Absolutely.
prized possessions to this day is a ticket that your dad signed for me. I was the biggest Bobby Ray Hall fan as a kid, and he brought it home to me, and I still have it. You know, it meant the world to me as a 6-year-old.
That's awesome.
That's the thing. You don't forget.
Yeah.
Never.
You know,
Absolutely, man.
particularly the bad experiences.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
Well, I can tell you, I'm the newest member of the Ray Hall fan club. So if any of these fans have trouble, send them to Solomon.
And
Grant.
Drew's
we'll take
huge.
Care of them.
Yeah.
We'll take care of them. Yeah.
All right, Graham Ray Hall, thanks so much for joining
Yeah,
us, and
thank you,
best of
guys.
luck Sunday.
Thank you.
Go get 'em.
Thank you.
Harrogate.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
And then Edinburgh, and then back down to Braintree, and then
oh, wow, she's
Brighton.
covered like the whole
She's
UK.
covered. I know. And then after sixth form, she went up to school in York. University
York's
of Leeds in
beautiful.
York. It is. It's a cool
York's
town.
beautiful. I gotta say, like Lincoln's fun for sure.
Yeah.
York's one of them towns where it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, exactly. So whenever we're watching, I'm buddies with Simon and Connor, some of these cats. Whenever we're watching, though, like, you know, she's definitely holding out the English flag for you.
Oh, thank you.
Big
Yeah,
time.
that's cool.
Big
Thank
time,
you.
Yeah.
And that is Drew Powell. I am Chris Spangle here with the Bob and Tom Show, and we are talking to Jack Harvey, who drives the number 30 for Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan Racing. Thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. First off, you have to be excited for Graham Rahal to be back in the race at this point.
Well, yeah, totally. Obviously this has come up a lot today in the last few days, but I think from the start of Fast Friday, which is when I think we all realized that we were kind of in the wrong part of where we want to be,
Right.
to Tuesday at 10 a.m. when we saw that he was going to be Stefan's replacement, which, first thing I will add, I hated what happened for Steph.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic guy. Wish him the speediest of recoveries,
Sure.
because he and his team showed that they deserved and earned their place in the 107th run in the Indy 500. I wish him a speedy recovery, and
Yeah.
I hope that he gets in next year for the 108th. He deserves it.
Yeah, sure.
I was relieved in a lot of ways to see Graham get the call, and I do want to say thanks to, always to Honda, because I've only ever driven a Honda, but also in this moment to Chevy.
Yeah.
The race fan in me loves that they were able to overcome whatever the hurdles are. I have no idea, but I'm
Sure.
grateful they were able to overcome it. And I want to say thanks to everyone on the 24 for embracing Graham the way they have, because from the Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan side, it's been peak stress,
I'll bet.
and people think, it's just qualifying day, but really it's not. It's from Fast Friday,
Yeah.
and then to bump out a teammate is awful. People don't realise Graham's actually a very good friend of mine.
Sure.
So that added another layer of it. So I know what it means for him. I know Bobby's had every emotion at this place, from winning it to being bumped himself.
Yeah.
So I know what the Indianapolis Motor Speedway means to the Rahal family.
Yep.
I know what it means to this team. I know the difficult questions that then get asked when one of our cars, whoever it is,
Yep.
doesn't make it.
Yep.
So you're balancing these very heavy negative feelings on one shoulder.
Yep.
The other shoulder, I felt so grateful,
Of course.
to be in the race.
Yeah.
And, I felt grateful for myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
For all the sponsors on the 30 car,
Yeah.
for people ready, for custom entertainment, for all my mechanics,
Yep.
for the engineers, for everybody in marketing. And, I think other people as well should just give them a thought throughout all this, trying to balance some of these positive, negative, in equal
Yeah.
doses. I will say, though, everything that's happened, I'm proud of the people of RLL. We clearly haven't had the performance, but in terms of just how they are as people, I thought we all handled bump day with a huge amount of class.
Absolutely.
I think that
No question.
universally, Graham has, I think, in the IndyCar fandom online, sometimes been unfairly criticized, but I've seen that completely switch since qualifying.
Without
I think
doubt.
for you too, I think the way that the team handled it, and also, Honda and Chevy, I don't think anybody really thought that would be possible to see a Honda driver go to a Chevy car. It does make a big difference in the race, for those of you who don't know. But it really, I think, speaks to where IndyCar's at right now, where it seems like a big club where everybody's rooting for each other,
Sure. Yeah.
as opposed to maybe 30 years ago where it's don't tell anybody anything or I'll knife you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and not for nothing, your qualifying was the equivalent of a freaking game-winning shot in basketball.
Yeah.
That's worth celebrating.
The car was hot, and you weren't supposed to. Were you on the fourth lap going, no effing way?
I saw the third lap, and I was just like, a bit like everyone else, like, there's a chance.
So you're saying there's
I'm
a
like,
chance.
there's a chance.
Yeah.
And I think I've watched the broadcast back, and I think we were pretty much getting written off, and probably rightly so,
Right.
until that third lap.
Yeah.
Hang
on a second.
I still can't quite understand everything that happened there.
Did you make any change to the car?
We did in pit lane. Maybe I was a bit more Johnny on the spot with the tools that we have inside the car. It's a wild
That's
day,
wild,
man.
man.
It's so
Oh,
wild,
gosh.
and I love sports. I
Yeah.
love this place, and it felt like one of them moments, whether it's basketball and you've thrown and the buzzer's gone, or
Yep.
you're throwing a Hail Mary to win a football
Yep.
game or something.
Yep.
Like that was the equivalent.
penalty goal in football. Soccer.
that was our final effort.
Yeah, yeah.
That was all we had left.
Yep.
There was nothing else to give. I truthfully didn't even know how much time was left. That's how just present I was. Which is
Yeah.
why I asked on the way in, how much time is there left?
Right.
And they're like, 0, you're in. And honestly, like I cried like a little girl from pretty much the middle of like the back straight to like coming in and composing myself again.
that is great.
And again,
I love that.
But you're wrestling with it because I knew that it would have been Graham. You know, and then it is a weird.
It's a weird
moment.
spot.
It is a weird spot, and then you throw in the other dynamic of it, where obviously Bobby's my team boss. That's how I see him.
Sure.
That's how Graham sees him, but then that's also his dad.
Yeah.
Right. So they have another layer to that relationship that's way deeper than anything that we do at the racetrack.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I do think that we all handled it with a nice amount of class, and I really was proud to be a part of that organization on that day for the people that they are. And now we're in the 107th running, and we have a year to try and figure out what the heck went wrong last weekend. But
and which number is this for you? How many 500s?
7.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
Lucky
I know.
number 7.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Let's make it happen. It'll make a great movie.
I mean,
Jack.
honestly, if someone from our team wins,
I'll forget it.
like,
Forget it.
I don't even know what I'd do. Honestly, I hope it's me.
Yeah.
If it's one of the others, I'll celebrate with them.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't go to Detroit. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
You're still celebrating.
Yeah, we'll still be celebrating. But yeah, no, it's.
You guys over here going like, no.
Jacob's like, in all fairness, Jacob's like, I'm down for that.
Yeah. He is.
So,
Well,
no,
It's
fun,
always
mate.
the PR people. You got to watch out.
So we've been
the
asking
biggest part is-
all the drivers. My day job is I'm an actor. So in that movie, when you win and we cast the movie, who plays Jack Harvey?
Only because I get this a lot.
I know who you're going to say.
Zac Efron.
I knew it.
Yeah,
but
that's
here's
it.
the
A lot
thing.
of people say.
Oh my
it.
gosh, forget it. I mean, you guys could be brothers, but
Yeah.
I'm getting serious Danny Radcliffe vibes, man. And I could see
That went from feeling like an ultra positive to kind of a negative.
Come on, he's Harry Potter. He's Harry Potter.
I'm living this Jekyll and Hyde all the time.
No, I want to see that. Yeah, he is Zac Efron and Danny
I
Radcliffe.
do see that.
Somebody make that. Somebody give me some art of that on Jack's shoulder.
He does kind of have like the Harry Potter was a nerd in middle school. And now look how hot he is.
When Harry Potter got hot, there you go.
I still am a nerd, in all fairness. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan.
Nice.
One time when I got drunk, I did permanent marker the line on my forehead. Get me some little specs on. I'll be Harry. Hey, if we win the race, I will dress up like Harry Potter sometime on Monday.
That's great. Listen, you heard it here first.
Now,
I love it.
Are you a traveler?
Well, I mean, inherently, yes, because obviously I'm from the UK and I'm living in America. I'm actually a homebody.
Okay.
Like, I don't love traveling, which is hilarious for how many race weekends I travel to.
You spend
and
a lot
stuff
of
like
time
that.
away.
But like my apartment is my little sanctuary.
Yeah.
And I just love it.
What do you do? Where do you live at, by the way?
North side of Indy.
Okay, so what have you
Nice.
done to the apartment that makes it feel like a sanctuary?
It's really more about the feeling that I get every time I come home. It's peaceful. It's been decorated, albeit mostly not by me. It's a calm
Zen.
place to be. It is,
Right.
and I get there and
Good
I just
feng shui.
find it easy to leave my stress, negativity at the door.
Yeah.
And I
That's
walk
great.
in and I'm just like, okay, I'm home. And it's almost like I'm safe again. And everyone
great.
has them, home comforts, creature comforts, like obviously being from the UK, the bits that I miss about it, some food. So I make sure that I always have something.
You got baked beans. You got curly whirlies. You got. Do you have? I mean,
You're
I'm
blowing my mind.
Yeah, right. Hey, man, I told you,
You
my
know
wife
this.
is English. Absolutely.
Let's get a crunchy in there.
Absolutely.
Let's do
Let's
it.
go. Come
Yes.
on. Are you a Marmite guy?
No.
Me neither. Come on.
I
Nobody
can't get
wants
on
that.
board with that.
I liked. What's the rings when you put them on your finger?
Haribo. Haribo.
No, the
party
like the
rings.
chips. The chips like hula hoops.
Oh, hula.
Give me hula hoops all day.
Yeah, Monster Munch. You ever
Come
had
on,
them?
man. Heck yeah. Let's go. We haven't even got to the lager yet. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you keep stocked in the cabinet from? Do you like have it shipped over? Or is there a store here that you can get it?
Yes, a little bit yes to both. I will say my mum is as much of a mum as you could ever
Okay.
Love it.
and she keeps me very well stocked.
Oh, that's
my
sweet.
dad travels to a lot of the races too, so he's always bringing my favourite biscuits. chocolate digestive,
Arnott?
hobnob.
No. Oh, Arnott's Australia.
first-
Hobnob. Oh, my
Hobnob,
God.
yeah,
the
I know.
Hobnob, the chocolate covered hobnob.
Yeah, that's the way.
Let's
you
go.
know.
When I heard chocolate digestive the first time, I was like, "There's no way that's a candy. That's the worst."
No, it's not. It's a cookie. It's like a
cookie.
graham cracker kind of,
So
but
it's
better.
This is where there's an immediate language barrier.
Okay,
Yes.
right.
Because a cookie here, if I think about a cookie, I think pretty much exclusively chocolate chip.
Right.
Yes, right.
That's like it's a chocolate chip cookie. Period. Everything else has its own like subcategory,
Yeah.
and in the UK that's called a biscuit.
Yes.
Right.
And where in America a biscuit is like a weird cross between like a scone and a bread bun.
Yeah,
You know, and
that's
I'm
right.
like, am I putting jam and
Yeah.
clotted cream on that, or how am I
Or
eating
gravy.
this? Or
I'd be like,
gravy.
Gravy.
Yeah, I asked for
I-
biscuits and gravy one time, and I got a scone with
why
like,
is-
and they really worked hard.
I
but-
got to tell this story. So me and my sister, when I first moved to America, she comes over with me. She's here 10 days, helped me get settled into my first apartment. We go to a brunch spot, and like brunch is a new concept, I think,
Sure.
for a lot of
Yep.
people. Normally we
Yep.
just bypass that and go straight to lunch, but we're brunching. We're having a great time. We're looking down the menu, and it says biscuits and gravy. And at this point, we have not immersed ourselves in American culture. We have no idea. Nothing about that made sense because in our mind, to give you a reference, that pretty much is like someone going, there's two like graham crackers covered with like beef gravy or turkey gravy, and that didn't make sense. I'm not here for it.
No, absolutely not.
And then I did one day like try biscuits and gravy. It's hearty. That's a hearty
That's
meal.
a guy that eats baked beans for breakfast.
that is a great. That's a great way to say it, though. It is hearty.
American beans are dense,
Really?
don't you think?
Yeah, totally
Where
different.
Baked beans in the UK are lighter.
Okay.
Like quite
Less-
a lot lighter.
Yes.
Less sugary, less syrupy.
Yes,
Definitely
for
more
sure.
like a savory thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the thing is, like, it has to be toast. It can't be bread. Because then it's going to be like dripping through,
yeah.
soggy
Oh, no.
mess.
No,
I'm not here. I don't
Yeah.
like that.
No.
But like proper toast, beans.
That's full English, baby.
Yeah,
Except
good
the blood
bacon.
pudding. I can't get the blood pudding.
I don't
can't go
I
there.
don't dabble
Yeah.
with that either.
All right.
No
All right.
mushrooms, no tomatoes.
You and I are going to go to Cracker Barrel and ask for a full
I
English
love
and see what
Cracker
happens.
Barrel. I love it. It's one of my favorite places to go. You
love it.
got garden table, patio. I'm like, yeah, let's
Yeah,
go
let's
to
go to
Cracker
Cracker
Barrel.
Barrel.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
go.
funny.
Eggs over medium. Don't fry my bacon.
That's it. All right, we're gonna next time my wife joins me, I'm gonna call you up because we're on the north side too with my folks. We're gonna find a good a pub that will serve us some breakfast.
I make pretty good sausage rolls.
Done. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll come over.
How do you feel like even just a little bit confused at like what's going on here?
I feel like I just
we're
came
speaking
from-
a language and no one else is.
I feel like
vibing.
I just came from England. I'm in a Waffle House right now.
There
I don't
you
know.
go.
It's a smothered,
I'm
covered
hungry.
in what?
That's all I am right now. Jeez.
Actually, it's one of the first. When I went to, it was new in my American adventure. We were in New Orleans, and I went to a Waffle House.
Oh boy.
That is the last
deep
time
end.
I ever went into a Waffle House. And I think what made it worse, I saw them prepping.
Oh no. Never
eat-
look behind the curtain.
Just throw up a screen.
No.
You know,
Don't,
ignorance
please,
is
dear
bliss.
God.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
saw that thing go in the waffle maker. I couldn't bring myself to eat it. Should not be served by people. but
No.
Is there an American fast food restaurant that you're really into? You're like, I know I
So
shouldn't
many.
be. Shouldn't be.
so many.
So you're like me, except you work out and you probably can resist temptation. So you just like
Ish.
drive by what, and you just go, I gotta have BK today. I gotta have Burger King.
That's not on my list.
Okay,
actually,
what's your
normally.
list?
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, come on.
maybe
Yeah.
number one.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
Pretty damn
outside,
good.
I'm class. It is me, like, kind of saying I'm not a BK guy. I do like Burger King.
Sure.
Yep.
You know, I like McDonald's.
Have you had In-N-Out when you're in California?
Love In-N-Out.
Yeah, baby.
I like Five Guys.
Yeah, also
you know,
good.
Yeah.
I like all of them. You know,
Love
when
it.
people are like, what do you? I like Shake Shack. See, now we're flowing. Big pizza guy.
Now we're flowing,
You know,
baby.
Basbo's great
Yeah, I was
pizza.
just gonna say that.
Napoli's good pizza.
Yeah.
Greeks
Greeks.
good pizza. Monocles. I mean,
Yeah. We had a Greek's pizza on the square in Lebanon, Indiana. It was like living when
This
you
is
got to
just
go
the
there.
best.
controversial. I like Arby's curly fries.
Oh, all right.
No.
Big-
Okay, I'm
See,
okay with
now.
that. I'm okay with that.
And then I've never been to Wendy's.
What?
I don't even know why. Like I've got no problem with Wendy.
You're going to need a Wendy's sponsorship here. I think you got a great opportunity.
I actually love their social media account. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know why. I've never been there. I've never been to Culver's.
Oh, man.
come
And
on.
I hear that's
top
good
2 for
too.
me, yeah.
Yeah.
Do like great as ice cream though. That's pretty clutch.
Oh, yeah.
And the only thing about McDonald's that annoys me, the milkshake / ice cream maker never works.
It never works. And by the way, they're just lying.
Sometimes I just want a
Make it.
cone. Just give me a cone.
Nope.
Little bit of a 99 whip.
It's too hard to clean. A 99 whip with the freaking flake in there. Give me
a
the
flake.
99 flake. I love
Someone
it.
get me a Cadbury flake.
All right, Jack.
I think we're gonna have to start a podcast.
Yeah,
like American and Englishmen and
People are going to
food.
listen to this back and be like, "What were they even on
What
about?"
are they taking?
How many times a week do you eat fast food?
Truthfully, not many. Man.
Yeah,
I gotta say,
You don't.
Look at
You
him,
don't get in
right?
a race car eating fast food.
I like actually just social cantina. That's kind of close to us. We like
Nice,
that.
nice.
Big Chipotle guy.
Yeah, sure.
Like Wahlburgers. That's another one
Yeah.
never mentioned.
That's great.
So
We need to just edit
I've
this of
seen-
him like wistfully
just
talking.
like
Yeah, I know,
all of them down.
Here's me saying I don't eat a lot, but there I am, rattling them off left and right.
42 minutes later.
Yeah, he's still going. I've never dabbled on White Castle because
No.
someone said give it a wide berth. Jacob's mad. He's a what?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It's one of those 2 a.m. and you've made some bad decisions and you're like, well, let's just add one more to the thing. Yeah.
not to just keep having another one.
Yeah.
But my next one at 2 a.m. You talk about bad decisions at 2 a.m. Skyline chili.
Let's go. Come on,
That's a-
Chili Mac.
That's a good decision.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's a good deciin at 3 p.m.
It doesn't feel as good the next morning, but
I will never forget smelling my breath with booze infused Skyline chili,
onions.
and I was like, I think I'm gonna die. Like, this thing, I'm gonna breathe in my own breath, and I'm just gonna keel over right
Good night,
now.
everybody. And we're out. That's great. I love it, man.
All right, Jack Harvey, the number 30 for Ray Hall Letterman.
Oh yeah,
Lanigan.
racing. Yeah.
Best of luck to you. Thanks so
Racing,
much.
yeah.
Best interview of the day.
We are here with Callum Eilot, who is in the number 77 for Junko's Hollinger Racing. Little bit of a struggle this month, but you're in the field solidly. That has to feel good.
Yeah, a little bit is an understatement, but no, it's been tough. It's been tough. You know, that's how it is sometimes. And unfortunately, we were the ones this year that had quite a big struggle and made a few changes to make it work, and we got in. But yeah, excited to be racing. Obviously, we've got a little bit more time with Carb Day coming up to fix, any little issues we have, and yeah, should be a good race.
2 hours to me doesn't seem like a lot of time to practice.
Not enough.
So
Not
is it-
after the 2 weeks I've had.
Yeah.
So I need way more. But for the
I don't mean to
others-
offend you, but on the open test days, I was like, all right, I don't think he's gone out yet.
No, that was kind of the way it was all the way up until qualifying. Yeah, that's the way it was for us. Limited testing, we're very far behind some others, but again, that's life sometimes.
Yeah. Now, you were coming up the ranks. You finished second in Formula 2 in 2020 and did really well there with 3 wins and 5 pole positions. And then you switched over to IndyCar. What was your first experience in an oval, and was it anything like you expected?
First experience was in Texas, and
Why do they... Lundgaard said that, too. Why do they keep putting you guys in Texas as the first oval?
I think that's the way it works because of the schedule, to be honest. I don't know. It's a tough one, but also as a super speedway, it's I think quite a good one to get started in. Look, I don't know. Someone else makes the rules on that side. But yeah, I think my honest reaction coming in was, I don't know who came up with this idea, but they got some issues. And I think when everything was under 100 miles an hour or whatever, it was all good. But now it's super fast. I mean, I've learned to appreciate how finely tuned everything is and how difficult the racing can be. And especially here at IMS, it's very, very tough. It's a very tough track, very tough racing, and even tough to get the car in the window.
So when people say it's a tough track to race, what exactly does that mean for those of us who have never been in the car?
Anything from setting up the car, how you balance the car as a driver, and the driving style you need to play around with it. And then the next thing is even the racing. The racing can be very close and very competitive. Or it can be very, very distant, and to be able to make a move, you have to be on the edge. and very daring. It can be anything, but here it's more about how finely tuned the cars need to be for the window for them to work in, and then, watching qualifying, how on edge everyone is at 240 miles an hour. How close
you were
people
described
get.
as particularly brave in qualifications. What did other drivers mean by that?
I almost crashed 6 out of the 8 laps I did.
Oh, wow.
And I've got photographic evidence of how close I got to the wall on every lap of the first run, and then 2 of the 4 laps on the second run. And the story for me was we changed chassis the previous day, and I got 2 runs in the morning on Saturday, and then went straight into qualifying. And all the cars are so different. It doesn't matter how even if the baseline setup should work, you need to fine tune it with aeros and stuff. And the faster you go, the ride heights and all of that changes, and that changes how the car behaves. So, yeah, I think some people were very impressed by what we managed to do, what I managed to do in the qualifying. And yeah, I put on some of the craziest laps I've ever done on an oval.
Now, were you familiar with the Indy 500 when you were overseas? Did you come to the race before you were in it? This is what, your second year?
Yeah, second year. My first experience watching it was 2016 when Rossi won. And I'd heard of it, but I'd never watched it before that. And then, I kind of started to get an understanding of it. Obviously, when I was a little bit older, 2019 I was racing in Monaco. So at the same time we were racing, I was probably partying at the time the Indy 500 was going on. But yeah, you got a feeling for how big this race was, but you don't understand it until you come here.
Yeah, and what was that first experience like? Did you kind of underestimate it and kind of go, oh, it's just another race, and then you experienced it and it was something different?
No, I never underestimated it. I was just like, I want to see what it's like, and then when you get that cannon at 6 a.m. waking you up, going, oh, what was that? And then obviously the noise and everything that follows it, it just creates a special day.
Yeah. Now, final question, if someone were going to play you in a movie about your life, who do you think would play you?
I mean, there's a good guy, Taron Egerton, I think that's his name. He played in Kingsman. You know the one.
Yeah. Alsman knows all this stuff. Yeah. Nicholas Holt.
I would know the face, but I don't know. Okay, yeah.
No, you're talking to the wrong guy. Yeah.
Yes, I was thinking of the English style.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Callum Ilott. We really appreciate your time here on the Bob and Tom Show.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We are here with Christian Lundgaard. You are Rahal Letterman Lanigan racing driver. Unfortunately, starting back in the pack this year, can you talk about the experience of having to attend the last row party?
Once again.
Hold on. Why are we not?
Once again. Am I on now?
Now you're on.
There you go.
Once again attending the last row party?
Once again. I actually qualified 31st last year and qualified 31st this year.
Okay, that's not a good streak.
Well, at least I'm in it.
Yeah, that's
so,
true.
that's at least the positive of it. But no, obviously with Graham driving in the 24 car, we've been moved up to 30th. Still have to attend the last row party.
Yeah.
Which sucks. But now we got all 4 of us, so Graham will join us for that one. So that'll be fun, I think, tonight.
You really dominated in the GP here earlier in the month and then struggled at the Oval. What is the difference in the cars that would maybe cause something like that?
I mean, in terms of my performance, I don't really think that I struggled the whole month. We just haven't been fast.
Yeah.
As a team, we just haven't had the performance and the pace that we need and we should have with the resources that we have available. And I would kind of say, extremely disappointed in that.
Yeah.
Of course, but right now it's a learning curve, and having Stefano come in, understanding the aerodynamics of the car and the vehicle dynamics, we just struggled with pace, and it's been a tough learning curve for him as well, to be honest, because we've done a lot of aero testing on and off track, and just to understand how which window the car needs to be in, and looking at the GP and even Barber, if you look at the performance we had last year at Barber compared to this year, or at least on my car, we were way more competitive this year. So I think the car is more pleasant to drive. It's nicer to drive. We just need to extract more pace out of it, quite honestly. And I think that has showed at the oval. Last year, I was not comfortable in the car at any part on any ovals we did. Texas this year was a little interesting, but here at the Speedway, I've blasted through all my qualifying runs, and I think I did 11 in total with high boost, and the car was nice to drive. We just weren't able to go faster. We were trimming, we were going back on downfalls, and we're just doing the same pace. So
you obviously grew up in Europe. Your goal was probably F1, and you were a road racer, correct? Had you ever done an oval before coming to IndyCar?
Never. I remember my first ever oval test was at Texas right after St. Pete last year.
Which, if listeners aren't familiar, Texas is a very difficult, wild ride.
So actually, I have a very good way of explaining this.
Okay.
So you will start with the European drivers that have raced at Monza. Mm-hmm. Will know, end of straight at Monza, just turn hard left.
Right.
That is turn 1 at the Speedway.
Okay.
But you'll still be going around 30, 35 kilometers an hour faster.
Right.
And then Texas has half the distance of the Speedway, but it's as fast.
Does it just feel like you're on
so
a
it's pretty crazy.
Loop-de-loop the whole time, like one of those carnival rides where you're just spinning in the spaceship?
No, I mean, it is different compared to that. And it's the Speedway especially is a place that you just can't explain to people that haven't done it. And I mean, I want people to try the two-seaters.
Yeah.
I mean, I even want to experience it.
Really?
Yeah, like I know I've asked a few people if I can try it. Not to drive it, but sit in the back.
What did they said?
No. So I'm a little disappointed.
How does that work? How do you get turned down for the two-seater?
I don't know. They probably think I've had enough track time. But no, it's, you know, for me, because I've had the first ever time I ever drove an actual car when I was still doing go-karts.
Right.
I had my dad in the passenger seat, and I scared the shit out of him.
Right.
And he used to be a rally driver, driving on side of cliffs and all sorts of stuff. And I'm like, you're crazy. But it not being in control sucks. Like, it is scary, and it's very difficult to kind of control yourself. And when you're in control, I mean, you're holding onto the steering wheel, you're not moving as much, like you're just in control. But as soon as you're the passenger, it's a different thing. So I want to experience it, especially around the oval. I know they do this the two-seaters around here. So I don't really want to do it on a race day. I just want to try to experience it. Like, what does it feel like? And I've been turned down, apparently.
That is bizarre to me. Yeah, you'd think that you'd be able to get a ride, but maybe they're saving fuel costs.
Maybe my question just haven't reached far enough. You know, like, I don't know. I'll probably have to ask some different people.
So you have a mustache this year. Is that in honor of Bobby Ray Hall? What is the backstory of your mustache?
Yeah, it's actually a deal I have with my best friend, and he's here this week. He got in on Tuesday, and we played golf this morning, and he's having a good time. And he was actually asking me if he could follow me around for the whole media tour today. And I was like, no, that's not a good idea. It's like, I can just stand in the back room. I'm like, no, you can go down.
Would he be making faces at you behind the camera or what?
Yeah, it just wouldn't end very great. You know, it was just going to be a long day with that. So no, he's enjoying himself. He's actually never in his entire life seen me drive.
Really?
Never. So why not start out at the Speedway for the Indy 500?
Well, so, what was your first experience at the Indy 500? Was it as a driver, or did you come here before?
First time as a driver, which was last year. I'd experienced it on TV before, but never been here.
How did you describe it to him?
Well, I'm still trying to. So I guess that explains the answer. You know, it's you just can't explain it. You have to experience it, and race day is just so different. Yeah. Like, race day is race day, and it's just an incredible atmosphere around the whole facility.
Yeah.
And you know, being on the Brickyard golf course this morning with Graham's golf tournament was amazing. There was a lot of people over there. We saw the suites out of turn 2, which I'd actually never seen before. So it's great for me also to. I mean, I've seen them on track, but I've never seen the actual place before.
Right.
I got to see some pictures from inside from people that we were playing with that had a suite there, and it just shows the passion for this place.
Yeah.
And I never grew up with that. I grew up believing in Monaco, Formula One, all these kind of things. And having watched the Indy 500 before, doing the Monaco Grand Prix, to now having experienced it, I'm like, people should just forget Monaco. Because Monaco, like nowadays, it's just boring because
it's a very tight race.
It is, and also the F1 cars are only becoming bigger and heavier and clumsier to drive, and you just can't overtake.
Yeah.
So when you finally experience this, you see the atmosphere, you see the amount of people that are here cheering on, and it's just one huge party, really. Like, everyone's just having a good time. And I've had a good time. I mean, last year, the car wasn't enjoyable to drive, but, seeing all the fans walking onto the grid, doing the driver intros, seeing the amount of people, re-watching my onboard, you can hear people on the stand.
You can.
On the grandstand, you can hear people.
Interesting. Some other drivers said that you couldn't hear that.
Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. It depends if you're on throttle, off throttle, and these kind of things. But it's incredible.
Final question: if you were there were a movie to be made about your life, what actor would play you?
Who would even want to play me? Yeah.
Maybe Jude Law.
No, I would probably have to choose a Danish actor for this.
Okay.
Mads Mikkelsen.
Okay.
He's in. He plays in one of the James Bond movies, Casino Royale.
Yes.
Do you know who I'm thinking?
Not a clue.
So he's the bad guy. The bad guy that's on the boat. I think he has a fake eye. He's a very good actor. Nice guy as well. I've met him a few times. Probably him. I'll have to. I mean, I'm a Dane, so I have to say Dane, really.
Yeah, it's
I guess so.
like required, right?
Yeah, it is.
All right, Christian Lundgaard, driver of the number 45. Thanks so much for joining us.
Of course, thank you.
Thanks, and then we'll grab a quick photo, and then you'll be on your way. My name is Chris Spangle. We are here with Drew Powell, and we are talking to David Malukas, who is the driver of the number 18 Dale Coyne racing car. Tell us about your month of May so far.
It's been unexpected, exciting. Kind of what we expected, but not really. We were expecting to come in to unload with a bit of a quicker car. Looking at Dale Coyne's history, the car we had last year. And unfortunately, this season it's been a bit of a struggle. We unloaded and we're like, oh, we got work to do, and we managed to find somewhat of a race car. Qualifying came, very tough day, probably the most stressful day in my racing career. We were struggling to, not get bumped, not struggling to try to make it out of the last chance. But thankfully, towards the end of the day, perseverance, a little bit of hope, we managed to put everything together and actually qualified 23rd, which we were just jumping. We were like, if you see our team, we looked like we won pole. Like, we were more excited than the McLaren team actually getting pole. We were like, yeah, like jumping through the roof. So
Small victories.
Yeah, when you're sitting there watching those cars go out and you say it's stressful, like what could you, for those of us who've never been in that position, what would you liken that to, like that feeling of just watching other cars and you're just sitting there just waiting on your future?
Yeah, I mean, the way qualifying day works, we have the one run. So, you come in with that run, and we were right on the precipice of being in the last chance, which was from 30th onwards. And so we were always in that bubble zone, is what they call it. And you always have to wait on the other people that are in last chance to go and do their laps. And because they're in last chance, they can go in lane one. And lane one obviously deletes your time, but since they're in last chance anyways, it doesn't matter. You might as well just delete it and just keep going. So you're just kind of watching the board, and then as soon as they hit it, now you go in lane one and try to go again. And because you're trying to push the limit of the car so much, everything's on edge. So as a driver, you're out there, and it's not an easy 4 laps. You are playing with the car at 240 miles an hour going sideways, and it is the most stressful 4 laps you can possibly do. And obviously from Honda's side, you're pushing the engine as much as you can, so you have to be on top of engine maps, on top of changes. So there's a lot going on for those 4 laps, and although it's only 4 laps, it is probably the longest 4 laps I've ever done. It feels like forever, but yeah, that's there's so much going on, and that's kind of why it's very stressful.
Drew, he has blue eyes too.
Hey, this is going on Tom's theory.
You look, so Tom, the host of the show, we've realized today, talking to the drivers, that 80% of you guys, the 3 that you missed, all had blue eyes too. So What do you think? There's some sort of working theory. Maybe there's a driving gene that's
Maybe you have blue eyes. It equals good drive. I mean, Jody, what color eyes? You have blue eyes? Green. Oh,
no,
okay.
she can never. Not gonna be a driver, I don't think.
That's crazy. So,
It is,
wow.
It's one of those things where I thought Tom was being Tom, and like, okay, bro. But then everybody kept coming.
Yeah.
With the exception of like the Brazilians and the Mexican guys
Yeah.
and the Japanese, like everybody else has blue eyes. So like now I'm like, wait a minute, we're gonna have to call Bill Nye the Science Guy. To figure it out.
Bill, no, that was my childhood, man. That's awesome. No, I'm actually gonna use that. If I ever see like a baby or something, I'll be, oh, blue eyes, he's gonna be a racer.
Yes. Indeed.
Grab that other mic for me. There's something wrong with your mic.
Chickadee check, microphone checker.
There we go.
Yep.
All right. I knew if you weren't popping through that other mic that it wasn't working.
You probably catch me on your mic with
Yeah,
this voice.
exactly. Now, I hope this isn't an offensive question, but were you homeschooled?
I was, yes.
Okay. How did that help your racing career? Because I would imagine with that freedom, you got to do all kinds of fun things while still being educated.
Of
well.
course. I did homeschooling when I went to Europe. So I was still in go-karting at the time, but I was doing many European series. So I actually lived in England at the time.
Wow.
So it was easier to count the days I was out than in school. And so I was going to get like kicked out of the school anyways. They're like, you're never here.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, it's time to go to homeschooling. I need to be on the go all the time. And it helped a lot. Of course, it also helped with discipline, with the homeschooling that I did. It was kind of just like, here's a whole semester, do when you want.
Yeah.
It's your own consequences. Obviously, for me, I was like, sweet, not going to do that. Let's go race.
Do you know any math at all?
I mean, well, now I'm not in school anymore. So it's like, now that's kind of faded away. If you would ask me a few years ago, yeah, probably.
Yeah. Where did you live in England?
I lived in Leeds most of my time, in Grimsby,
Yeah.
which I heard doesn't have the greatest reputation. I thought it was very beautiful.
Nice.
But Leeds, and of course a little bit in London as
That's
well.
great, yeah.
But no, I had a great time. I actually came back with a bit of an accent from
That's
England.
great. I
My
love
mom's like, "What? What did you
What
just
happened?
say?"
Yeah.
It's like when you watch Bluey too long.
Yeah,
You
I
get
was
in-
like,
Well-
"What's show size?"
My wife is English, and so it's funny. Early on, my son would start like he was so confused. Like some things he would say like her, and some things like me. It
Yeah.
does get in you.
Yeah.
That's fun
But,
though, man.
No, it was really good. And homeschooling, yeah, it definitely helped me disciplinary-wise to make sure I'm independent
Yeah.
and not having a teacher tell me when things are due. But then again, also getting educated on the go. So
Yeah, we interviewed
something there.
a lot of other drivers and asked them if they went to the principal, and all of them said yes, and it was for missing school.
Oh, yeah.
right.
All of them.
I had one. It was me and every teacher that I had in my grade, and the principal and the vice principal, and they put me in a room. And immediately, for a kid, I was in middle school.
Oh my gosh.
I opened that door. I just busted out crying. I was like, and I was like, no. And they're just like, yeah,
That's
you're
great.
never here and everything. I'm like, okay, please. I
just wanna race.
yeah, exactly. So, but no, and then we went to homeschooling and everything.
out for you,
It
I
worked
think.
out. It's amazing, and I love the homeschooling.
Which number is this for you, Indy 500?
This is my second. It's
Second
only my
one?
second one. I'm 21.
How does it feel the second, like the first time? I got to imagine it's so overwhelming. We were talking to Rossi, who won it his first time, and he's like, I still can't quite compute that. But is it now the second time? Does it feel a little bit more like, okay, I kind of understand what's going on?
Leading up to the race, yeah. I mean, now I kind of know how the schedule is, what to expect, how qualifying everything works. But I do think on race day I'm still going to be absolutely mind blown. I think
Yeah.
I talked to Newgarden last season. When we were doing the driver intros, we walked down Gasoline Alley and all got on the stage. Steve Aoki just. And so I talked to Newgarden. I'm like, does this feeling ever get old? Like, do you get used to it? And he just told me he's like, never. The feeling that you get for this race, it's always special.
Yeah.
And whatever you're feeling right now, you're going to feel all the time. And I was like, well, I'm pooping my pants. So I guess I'm going to feel it every single time.
That is
so,
awesome.
yeah, I guess Sunday we'll wait and see, and
Yep.
most likely we'll probably be pooping my
I'm
pants.
going to have a little Febreze in my pocket. If I see
Yeah.
you, we'll hit you up. It's all
Yeah,
good.
exactly.
Yeah, you'll
That's
be
always
fine.
like a famous question. Have you ever pooped in the race car? or
I've
peed?
not. I've not pooped. Got very close to peeing.
Okay.
But the thing is, if you have to really pee, it's only when it's like a long yellow flag. So obviously, when you're driving, you're racing. That is not in your mind.
No,
Like
no.
you are
Okay.
so
That's
just
shut
focused
down.
on
Shut down.
But as soon as you go yellow and you're relaxing, and now you're like, "Ugh," and then you hit a bump and it's like, oh, you get close. But I did one time. It was so bad. I was like, I can't. I got to do it. And I let go, but I couldn't let go. I couldn't. I couldn't do it. So I was like, okay, I will. Actually, it just sucks, but I can't let go. So I'm just gonna sit there.
Yeah,
and then the
smart.
race went green, and again, you forget about it.
Have you ever finished and you're just like, I've got to do a million interviews, but I really have to go to the bathroom?
Yeah, no, because I immediately just tell Jody, I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom ASAP, like right now.
Good PR person's worth $1 million in racing.
Oh, amazing! She knows, like she already has all the locations ready, closest bathroom. We got this one. If you want to go another minute longer, you could get a really nice bathroom over there. Like she's got it all planned out for me.
That's great.
Yeah, it's amazing.
She's like the Yelp of bathrooms at race courses all over the world.
Yeah, it's just incredible.
That's great.
Is there something that you do that kind of drives your team crazy, where they're just like, please stop doing this? Is it tweeting?
The team doesn't really get affected by any social media stuff. I don't know if there's anything that they kind of
like you get out of the car and you always leave something and
there is. So like, let's say for month of May, it's a perfect example because there's so much practicing. There's a lot of downtime when the team's making changes, and I actually always wear my mouthpiece in, like the little for the drinking of the water.
Yeah,
because I like to put it's in a perfect position. If I take it out and put it back in, it's going to be all messed up. So I always just leave it in, and if I like scratch it, it makes this funny noise, and on the radio, like on the intercom, it's like just so everybody's working on the car. Engineers are talking to each other like, so I think we should go on the spring and lift this up, and I'm just over here just like and they found it funny at first, but I do it all the time, and now I'm pretty sure it's driving them nuts. And one of the times they actually told me, they're like, okay, David, can you stop that? So then I just said like yes, but in the noise. So if anything, it'd probably be that noise.
I love that.
You are a fairly prolific tweeter. You're very connected on social media, and that seems to be kind of a new thing with the younger generation of drivers. Sort of the generation, maybe Elio, Scott Dixon's, let's just stay off of this and let the PR people handle it. Why do you feel that's a valuable tool, and what do you get out of really engaging with the fans on social media?
I personally, from my side, I just love it. I love communicating with the fans. A lot of good memes. I just find it funny, and when you communicate with the memes, you kind of, it's like being a part of a different community, and then I can leech off of them. We can share memes and stuff, and I'm active on everything: Discord, Reddit, Twitter. I'm in group chats, of like fans, and then I join it, and they're like, "Oh, it's David and Lucas, no way!" And I'm just like, "What's up?" Like, and I just message them, and actually all the like drama and rumors, everything, I actually learned from them.
Really?
Like, they are so on it. Like, they're everything. So
is it true, or are they just sort of...
No, it's like a lot of it is true. Like, they're on it. They're on top of things. So for me, it's great. Like, my knowledge of IndyCar and behind the scenes just goes through the roof because of them. They're like, well, I saw in this picture, I zoomed in, and then I saw in this document that, this guy's going here. And I'm like, whoa, that's insane.
Going on over
here. It's like, it's crazy.
Do you ever go the next weekend and like take those rumors to other drivers to find out if it's true?
Oh, yeah, I go straight to them. I'm like, I have from a very reliable source
at IndyCar fan 123.
And they're like, how do you know that? And I'm just like, so it's true. But no, it's great. And
Rick Beers 32 told me that you're
Rick Beers.
But I think it's really important to communicate and connect with the fans. I mean, they are the ones that make all this racing, everything's so special here. And when they come to the track, we can communicate. Hey, I was part of this group chat. We share this, and it just gives really great connections. And I feel like I'm making a bunch of friends and family. It's just very cool, and I love it. We're just gonna leave it at that.
Keep it going. I'm gonna follow you now, bro. I'm gonna hit you up on the socials, bro.
Yeah, if you want some Gen Z memes,
let's go from Gen X to Gen Z. We got this thing covered.
You can find me.
Now, as an actor, we've been asking this to all of the drivers so far today. Who plays you in a movie, if you get to choose?
Oh, Cillian Murphy. I love him. He's what
like
a good
that
actor.
answer.
Peaky Blinders, incredible. He's playing in the new Oppenheimer as well.
Yeah.
That's going to be really... He was also in Inception, another just classic film.
Yeah, he was a
Christopher
Scarecrow.
Nolan. I can't believe... I was always wanting Cillian to get a main role for a movie, like him to be the main actor. He's finally going to get it in Oppenheimer with Christopher Nolan, my favorite director.
Yep.
I love films, I love movies, and I love him, and it's going to be so
That's
good.
great. Could you also do that for me? Because clearly it worked for him. I'd really appreciate if you could get me a lead in a Chris Nolan film. He's top of my list. So if you could work on that, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Just tweet him.
Well,
It'll
these
be fine.
kids, he'll be hacked into his Twitter account. And he'll get you
figured
covered.
out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
All right, Lil Dave Malukas, the number 18. You're doing great this month, and we're very excited for you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Go get him, kid.
Thank you.
My name is Chris Spangle here with Drew Powell for the Bob and Tom Show. We're talking to Takuma Sato, who is car number 11, starting in the middle of row 3. He is from Tokyo, Japan. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Tell us about your month so far.
Well, it's been an amazing journey, to be honest. As everybody else too, that so excited, of course, in the month of the May. But not only for that, this is for me. It's a limited program this year. It's been a season now for the last 13 season, but this year representing for the Chip Ganassi Racing on number 11 car for the oval, which means this is my only second race, for now. But talking about the environment, Chip Ganassi Racing is obviously been the leading team for entire years, and particularly for the recent years in the 500, it's very, very strong. So it's been a really good practice so far every day, and qualifying was, for me, it was a little bit bittersweet. Wanted to be a little bit higher, but Alex, my teammate, showed the number 10 car was on pole. So we have speed, and we have a very strong package, and the environment is just fantastic.
Now, you're a 2-time winner of the Indianapolis 500. When you go back to Japan, what is the reaction in Japan and your reputation in your home country?
Well, they love it.
But they do.
I mean, specifically for the motor racing, of course. The fans, whoever knows about the car racing, they obviously knows it. And for the housewives and all the things, if you go to the 100% Japan, maybe there is a certain area that nothing know about the motor racing, but still, when we achieved such a winning in 2017 and 20, the news is all over the place for the evening show and the morning show, the entire country. So it was a magnificent.
Are you able to walk down the street? Do they mob you?
No,
you can admit it.
Anywhere, no problem.
Is there a difference in winning your first and your second in terms of your personal reaction to it?
I think it's a yes and no. I think it's both wins. You just can't compare it. Obviously the winning is a superb, the memories and nothing like it. But of course, you could say the first one has got just a significant impact because it's just the first win for the 500. It's just unbelievable. We made history to that. And particularly for the 350,000 people, which just battering around the magnitude and the impact of the energy that this venue had was just nothing like it. Yeah. Now, of course, 2020 was a difficult year for everyone else.
Yep. There were no fans at that race, right?
Exactly. So we didn't have any spectator. So it was a 0. So if you look at the whole 360, it was just a grey grandstand. Whoa. But knowing that millions of people were cheering through the TV safely at the backyard of your house. Yeah. So I think it was tough to say, when we won, obviously the whole team, it was just such a special feeling, but we didn't get the buzz from the 350,000 people surrounded. But again, we were so grateful we were able to do the race. We had to thanks to the Roger Penske's and all the IndyCar things and all sponsors to understand and made it happen. That was so special.
Yeah. True. Well, I've got 2 questions. One, what is it like? As you mentioned this before, what is it? How have you tried to mentally prepare yourself for just the ovals? Is it hard to kind of gear up? Do you have to do anything different? This being your first year.
It's not an easy for sure. But by now I have got enough experience to how to handle it too. That you don't get the rhythm, don't get the momentum for the previous races and stuff like that. Also, especially I moved the new team. Yep. So every member of the staff and engineers is just kind of unknown, right? So you have to build a great relationship, which we are today. However, I'm still catching up to my teammates and stuff like that. But it's a challenge, great challenge.
But are you more physically fresh because you haven't had the grind of the season, or is that not a problem?
Again, yes and no. If you have got injuries, I think a time off is a great time, because if you continuously every 2 weeks, every week you jump in a car, which is really difficult to heal the injury. Right. But other than that, physical training, it's harder because the best training is actually in the car.
Right.
Because we pull every single corner of Indianapolis Motor Speedways by 4.5G, every single corner, 200 laps.
Yeah, that's crazy. I did it at Pocono with Mario in the seat, and we only made it to 180, but I felt like I was going to fly out of the car on every turn. It's intense.
It's asymmetric, you
Yeah,
know. So
yeah.
so obviously it's not like the bigger the football player to running, dashing the field,
Yeah.
and you can clearly see you the energy.
Yeah.
Where we are sitting in the car, how could you burn energy?
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
burning about the 5 pounds of the body weight, you know, for
Yeah.
the one single race. So you have to train really hard and mentally, physically prepare for it.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a time for it, so I think I'm ready for 100%.
Yeah, good for you.
Takuma Sato, what's your favorite childhood memory?
Well, childhood memory, I think it's still something to do with the racing because I love the cars and mud racing, things like that, since when I was recognized the things and let's say 2.5 years old. But I never had a chance because my parents had no idea for the racing. So I remember back in really 1987, you know, it's a really
87,
long time ago.
yeah.
But I was 10 years old boy. And we went to the Suzuka in Japan,
Yep.
which was a Japanese Grand Prix in a Formula One race,
sure.
the first ever in a current configuration,
Yep.
and that was just an unbelievable day for me. Just unforgettable. I still remember the feeling and sounds and the smells and just to
Sure.
be there for all the 5 cents. I still clearly remember that.
Yeah, that's great. As an actor, I always got to ask this. I'm asking this question to everybody. Who plays you in a movie?
Wow, the movies.
Yeah.
Well, I like Denzel Washington.
Yeah, I think that's a good choice.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see the similarities.
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, I'd be willing to. I'm just if it's an option. I'm just saying.
All right, Takuma Sato, driver of the Deloitte number 11. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Go get him.
This is Chris Spangle here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway with Drew Powell, and we are talking to R.C. Enerson, who is the driver for a brand new team. Your team is like what? Less than 2 weeks old, really?
Yeah, like a week old.
A week old?
Our first day on track was Wednesday.
That's great.
Yeah, and you're one of the cool stories of the month because everybody thought, oh, well, they're certainly going to be on the bubble. They'll kind of be in the back row.
We were the first pick for sure.
Right, but you are in 28th position in the second to last row. How did you and the team get up to speed? Because you're a rookie too, so it's not like they have a veteran driver. How did you guys achieve that result?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still not quite certain how I still hold my rookie status. I did my first 3 races in 2016, and then it's just kind of been in and out. I did some stuff with Carlin, and then finally got that opportunity in 2021 with Top Gun. But, I mean, there was just no prep behind the car. We got the thing in boxes 38 days before our first practice from Dallara.
Goodness.
And Roy Wilkerson, that man built that car that fast.
Wow.
And showed up, and we could only get to 227. That was all I had. I was flat every single lap of every single session I was here.
That's all you can do.
And it just didn't have any more speed.
Yep.
But this one, I mean, we finally got this in the works. I think it was in January. It was shortly after PRI when we kind of brought it up to John Bruner, the team manager, and we've had a long-standing relationship with him. And he was like, "Oh, let me see." We thought he was going to say no right away.
You were asking him what?
If he was interested in trying to run a 500 program with Able Motorsports.
Gotcha.
Nice.
And he was like, well, you've got to talk to Bill, see if that's something that's in the cards.
And is this your engineer or
this is the team manager for Able Motorsports.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
John Bruner. He's
Because you're talking about your Indy Next team, and then you wanted to run an Indy 500 program.
Yeah, so I mean, we've only known Bill and Jacob Abel through John Bruner through Able Motorsports.
Gotcha.
So that was just kind of we have our cars, and we were like, hey, well, can we make this an opportunity to run under Able Motorsports banner? And he was, because John Bruner, he's done the third Foyt car many times. I mean, he's been a team manager and since I believe the 80s or 90s.
Wow.
I mean, he was with the Players team.
Yeah, that's kart days.
Yeah, kart
Kart
days.
days,
So
wow.
he's been around. I mean, everybody in the paddock knows him. But it was an effort to get the deal put together, and then they started prepping the car right in January, February.
Amazing.
And I remember going in the shop, I think it was in April, and I spun the front wheel. But it was before the wheel was on it. It was just the rotor, and that thing just didn't stop.
Oh
no.
I was like, oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be real good. I mean, they pulled the gearbox off the thing, too, and the gears were just burnt
Oh, my
because you had to
gosh.
lower the... We were just trying to get any speed we could the 2 years prior, so...
Yeah.
So-
everything had been, that car had been prepped for.
So
4 months.
anywhere you did, it's like that's pretty much a victory already. Like the
Yeah.
fact that you could run and make the Graham Rahal didn't make it. You know, like
Yeah, I think we kind of had an idea who would be in bump day I think a lot of people did coming into the month.
Yep.
And we, after watching Texas and just kind of how they've been, we kind of already knew the RLL cars might struggle.
Yeah.
But I wasn't expecting that from our car until I did ROP and I crossed the line on like my first lap. And I hadn't even hit full throttle yet, and it was 211. So I had to slow down more for phase one.
Wow.
I'm like, I did the entire first phase like 50% throttle because this thing is just so quick. And then we get to phase three, and I'm able to go flat all the way around. And we're running like 217s, 218s with race downforce on. I was like, we've got a strong car.
Right. That's got to feel good.
So that
right?
made qualifying kind of go poof out of my head. I think we got that pretty solid.
Yeah.
The real pain in the butt's going to be racing or driving in traffic.
Yeah, and that's one of my questions. When you really don't have your single car team, there's not, you're not Alex Palou with Scott Dixon sitting next to you going, this is what you should think about. Are there other drivers or maybe past drivers that you've reached out to try and get an advice on what you ought to do on race day?
Yeah, I mean, Spencer Piggott, he's my spotter in turn one.
Okay.
So he's done this race many times.
Nice.
So, I mean, even going into tomorrow morning, I'm going to be getting with him and going through all the video from Monday, which was my first day running in traffic, which I think we got a good car. It's just I need to figure out the whole... there's just a certain skill and a certain mentality you got to go about it. And they even told me, he's like, just get it out of your head that the car's ever going to feel good. Because it's just not.
Yeah.
And he's like, and when we start this race... You're going to get like 3 laps where you might be able to do something, and then you're just going to sit in a train and hope you don't burn your tires off and save fuel. So he's like, you're just going to have to hope lady luck and strategy kind of help fall your way. And I was like, well, that's not that bad of a mentality to go into the race. It makes it, I guess, less stressful on the driver when you know that everybody else is struggling just as hard as you are.
Yeah.
Nobody has a quote-unquote good car. Everybody's just got their own problems.
Everybody's just slightly better than the other. Like...
Yeah.
It's just, unless you're in the top 2 cars, those top 2, 3, if you only have 1 or 2 cars in front of you, the dirty air doesn't feel bad at all. It's the second you get 4 plus. And the second, starting to where I'm at, I have 27 cars in front of you. It's going to be a nightmare for the first set of tires or 2. But, I mean, we're excited. This group that he put together, they're all veterans of the 500. Every crew member, engineer,
That's helpful.
Engineering staff is stout.
Yeah.
I mean, they put together, we went into qualifying so confident and just kind of put it together.
That's great. Well, I'm the actor of the group, so we've been asking everybody, who plays you in the movie, if you had to choose?
That's a hard one. I'm really not sure.
All right. Well,
It's just too much to pick from.
I know
right?
there's a lot. I mean, let's see.
He's a handsome man.
Yeah.
He could be, like, don't take offense, but he looks a little bit like a younger you.
Yeah,
like
okay,
if
I'll
you
buy that.
high school age.
So I'm
Drew
going to
Powell.
play you when you win Indy at 40.
Yes.
That's going to be me, but we'll pick the younger version of you.
You're racing for Jay Penske.
Who? Taylor Lautner.
Taylor Lautner,
All right.
yeah.
I've
All
heard
right.
that one
That's good.
before. I've
Oh,
heard
good choice.
there's an Xfinity driver, Curry. And somebody came and ran up to me from the Chevy team, and they came like, has anybody told you look exactly like him? I was like, I don't even know what he looks like. And they showed me a picture. I was like, oh, man.
That is
I was
long
like,
lost brother.
That's not bad. I've gotten
That's
a few
great.
different ones, like at the racing schools and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
sure,
They'll be
sure.
like, you look just like this person. I've gotten a few of them.
Yeah,
so
man. All right, well, good. Well, I'm putting my hand in.
I don't know, I'll let you guys take that
40-year-old
Yeah, please.
winner.
So tell us about your career path here, like coming up to IndyCar. What are some highlights that you had, and how did you know you wanted to be a race car driver?
I mean, I guess it all started with kind of my dad at first. He grew up. He graduated out in high school out of the South Side here.
Oh, nice.
And he's been coming to the 500 with his parents, my grandparents, since I believe the 70s or maybe even late 60s. So it's always kind of been in the blood, like being a race fan. And I mean, my first 500 when I was 3.
Wow.
And I believe
That was like, what,
Scott Dixon and
2012?
Tony
Was it?
Kanaan and Elio's first 500s type
gosh.
thing.
I knew it would be insultingly recent.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
So it was. I mean, we still have pictures from it that we keep putting up and stuff like that. It's
Think about
crazy.
that. That is wild.
And
And you're racing with all those
and my
dudes.
parents moved to Florida before I was ever born. And when I was, I think 2 or 3 years old, 4 years old, I was really into those Hot Wheels cars, boxes and cases, like all
Yeah.
those cases and cases. And it was like my mom had drove past like a dirt oval go-kart track, and they're like, he likes racing so much. Why don't you get him a go-kart and see if he likes it? And there's a little dirt track over here. My dad was like, nope, I grew up in Indianapolis. If he's racing on asphalt.
Yeah.
And got me a go-kart from Comet Kart Sales, which is out of Newcastle, I believe, here.
Yeah.
Is their deal. And he put it together in the garage, started out 4 years old. You can't race until you're 5. So at 4 years old, I'm just going up and down the street where they'd stand on each side.
Just a little menace on the street.
And, yeah, to be quite honest, karting all the way up until I was about 10 or 11 was more or less a hobby. Even though we were karting at the national level, it was more or less a hobby that me and my dad would go do on every weekend.
Nice.
And got better and better at it, but it was never really the greatest karter. And then I got into a racing school and got into a car when I was 12. And that's kind of where the light bulb switched in my head. I think just things in a car made more sense to me rather than a kart, because there are fundamentally just so different on driving style. And it just... things clicked in my head and went into USF 2000 at 15 years old, 2012. Did 3 years of it. Almost won the championship the last year. Finished second, and that was when we were running our own team for it. So we were trying to compete with Cape Motorsports, who was like the gods of the Van Diemen F2000 era. They won, I think, 8 out of the last 10 championships with that car.
Amazing.
And we gave them a run for their money, and that was when the new Lights car was coming out. And that was when there was still the old Star Mazda car, which it was only 6/10 quicker than the USF 2000 car.
Jeez.
So it was like, why would we go jump up to 6/10 quicker when there's a new Lights car coming out? It kind of resets it for everybody.
Yeah.
And everybody's got to learn a new car, so why not make it there? And we skipped that and went into Lights. Did really well. Ran the Freedom here. Our team finished 1, 2, 3, 4, and won Mid-Ohio. Did a number of podiums. We really podiumed mostly on the ovals. But had a really strong year, and then came back again for the next year, and just engine issues, all kinds of mechanicals, found ourselves out of the championship, and got approached by Dale Coyne to do 3 races.
Let's go.
And was like, okay, let's go do that.
Yeah. Good choice.
And so my first races were in 2016. I was 19. So I was at the time I was the youngest since Marco.
Right.
And then
That's
now
something.
it's just all 19,
Yeah,
20
yeah,
olds.
yeah.
So it's
You started a trend, bro.
yeah, it kicked
Yeah.
down the door for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, we were really strong in those races, and tried to get a full-time 2017 ride, and just didn't happen. And it's just been in and out.
Yeah.
I've been kind of driving everything. I've done some NASCAR stuff.
Sure.
I've done some IMSA stuff, and then IndyCar. So it's kind of been through everything.
Yeah.
All right, look for car number 50, RC Enerson, on race day. Best of luck to you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, we are here with Augustine Canapino, who drives the number 78 Juncos Hollinger racing car. You know, I would have totally missed your story had it not been for the Drive to Indy CW series. And I was really impressed with, you're this accomplished race car driver, but you've never sat in an Indy car, and then you've come out this season and had a great season and a pretty good run here at Indy. I mean, what was the adjustment from the car that you'd driven previously to the Indy car? Like, how big of a jump was that for you?
Oh, it's a huge difference, because I always drove a touring car in my country. In
Right.
Argentina.
Which, can you explain what a touring car is to the listeners?
It's like a stock car, like NASCAR, but in Argentina. So
Right.
it's of course a little bit different. I never drive in an oval first time in Texas. This is my second race in an oval. And of course, my first time in an open wheel car. And IndyCar is the most demanding car in the world.
Okay.
For the driver, for
Why?
the physical condition. So imagine you the change for me. So it's a lot. And I have to learn English too. I am learning English too. I never speak English in my life before. So
Well, you're doing great. Better than if I spoke Spanish. And I've had 4 years of it.
everything is totally different for me. I am enjoying a lot, of course, the process, but it's not easy, honestly. I have to work every day very hard to improve my physical condition, to learn about the car, the team, the series, and the language too.
So let's talk about the physical aspect. You are having to work out harder. Like, what is the physical demand in the car that is forcing you into that process?
It's the most demanding car in the world. So, and I don't say that. So they say the Formula One drivers come to the most important and most faster category in the world. And when they come to here to drive an IndyCar car, they say, "Wow, this is tough." I imagine you, for me, coming for a touring car, it's totally different, totally different. and I'm still improving. I still suffering a lot that condition, but I am much better now than the beginning. And anyway, I am in the process.
Now, you're from Argentina, and you were apparently, you won the Olimpia de Oro. Forgive me if I said that like an ugly American. In 2018 is the Argentine Sportsman of the Year, and only one other driver has won that. You're very accomplished in Argentina. Your sponsor is it the country of Argentina on your car?
Yes, now we have the livery of the national soccer team, the World Cup champions.
Mm-hmm.
We are doing that for them, and we are really proud because they are the world champions on the Soccer World Cup. It's the first Argentinian driver. I am the first Argentinian driver since I think 83 years to do the Indy 500. And only one Argentina in the history could finish the race. So imagine what is the situation in my country, because Indy 500 is the most important race in the world.
Yeah, tell us about the Juncos Hollinger Racing Team. Your owner is Argentinian, correct?
Yes.
And left Argentina and started the racing team, started in Indy Lights, now Indy Next.
Yes.
Tell us about the Juncos Hollinger Racing Team.
It's a really big history from Ricardo. Ricardo comes on 2001 here to America and did a really incredible job to have now a really good team. Of course, it's the newest team. It's a small team too, but we are here doing battle to the best team, the top teams. It's incredible history. It's a long history, but it's amazing. He's a big example to how you can do everything in your life. And the legacy of the team is the power of possibility. And I think this is a perfect example from Ricardo.
All right, if you were to have a movie made about your life, who would star you? Who would play you in the movie?
Sorry?
What celebrity would be you in a movie?
And a movie?
Yeah,
like
movie
what?
Star. Who would you want to play you?
No. It's a difficult question. I never think about that.
Yeah. All right. Well, Agustin Canapino, thank you so much for joining us here on the Bob and Tom Show.
Thank you very much.